So, a while back, I thought about making a video about this sort of gap between the Western fandoms of anime and tokusatsu. I decided to drop it for two reasons. Reason one being that the whole thing can just be boiled down to the fact that some anime fans aren't just interested in tokusatsu, and that they just see it as dumb Power Ranger stuff, to quote a few. One example being that, as much as some people would like SSSS.Gridman, I've seen them show zero interest in the show it's based upon, and dismiss it entirely. And it's a real shame, because they're missing out on an entire world of media that has not only influenced anime, but helped shape Japanese media and pop culture as a whole. That being said, the second reason is that the aforementioned gap seems to be shrinking thanks to companies like Mill Creek, Shot Factory, and Media Blasters bringing some of these beloved shows and movies overseas. So with that in mind, Patreon supporter DaimoZ suggested that I bring back this topic in a video, but with a twist. I am going to recommend 5 tokusatsu entries for anime fans, and vice versa. Before I continue, I wish to warn you all that this was not an easy list to make. I wanted to focus on variety and make sure that different kinds of toku were being represented across different generations. But if you ever want to see more of my recommendations, you can always check out my top 20 tokusatsu films list. Plus, I also made videos about the media in the following list. Now let's get to it. First up in my list of tokusatsu to recommend is the 2012 Studio Ghibli live-action short film Giant God Warrior Appears in Tokyo, directed by Shinji Higuchi and produced by Hideaki Anno, one of the most iconic duos in Japanese special effects cinema as of late it appears. This will be the only modern entry in the list, as in just 10 minutes, the movie tells a very interesting and haunting narrative, while also showcasing brilliant special effects work that is simply unmatched. The God Warrior itself looks amazing, and is easily one of the best examples of modern tokusatsu. Plus, the movie is a prequel to Nausicaa the Valley of the Wind, so why not check it out? Being Mamoru Oshii's first live-action film, The Red Spectacles is one of the more rare examples of tokusatsu that doubles as an art house piece. And in case you're wondering why that suit of armor looks so familiar, that's because the film is actually canon with Jin-Roh the Wolf Brigade, as they're part of a shared multimedia universe known as the Kerbero Saga. The Red Spectacles follows a fugitive named Koichi who returns to Japan after exiling himself to Taiwan after a few years to save his comrades. What follows is a very wacky and insane, yet haunting and cerebral look into Koichi and his past as he desperately tries to reconnect with it, while also coming to terms with what's happening around him and finding who he is as a person. If you're a fan of Mamoru Oshii or Jin-Roh, you do not want to miss out on this. And while I'm at it, I also recommend its sequel, Stray Dog Kerberos Panzer Cops. How could I not include perhaps the biggest icon of tokusatsu and is one of the most important figureheads of Japanese pop culture as a whole? The original Ultraman from 1966 and what it's done for media is unlike any other series. It has great characters, amazing set pieces, phenomenal writing, directing, and cinematography, and it is just a blast through and through. I can't recommend the show enough, but in case 39 episodes is a little daunting, I also recommend the 2004 film Ultraman the Next, as it's a brilliant modernization of the original show's concept and does a wonderful job staying true to its spirit. When it comes to Ultraman and its 5 decades worth of history, you can never go wrong. You know what? Let's have another superhero in the mix. And if I'm going to recommend tokusatsu heroes, I might as well go with the iteration of perhaps the very first superhero in existence. The 1966 adaptation of Golden Bat is perhaps the most iconic and memorable version of the character. The story follows a team of scientists uncovering the tomb of the ancient warrior known as Golden Bat, who fights the villainous forces of Dr. Nazo, who plots to invade and conquer the Earth. The film reeks of this comic book aesthetic that is just genius with how it's shot and edited. Also, that laugh. That damn laugh. If I had to pick one tokusatsu series to recommend anyone, it would have to be Garo from 2005. Following a warrior named Koga who defends mankind from beasts called horrors, it's hard to put into words how masterful the show is, from its tone, characters, storytelling, fight choreography, creature designs. I can go on. Keita Amamiya is simply a tokusatsu genius, and while some may be more familiar with Garo's animated outings, watching the original and where it all started is a must. Honorable mentions include Kamen Rider Zero, Zeram, and Attack on Titan. To keep it short, these are all very good too, and I highly recommend checking them out. I just couldn't find enough room to squeeze them in with how diverse the list already is. And now let's go on to my anime recommendations for tokusatsu fans. First up, I want to recommend something that aired recently, and my god, Love After World Domination was so much fun. It's a Sentai parody where the Red Ranger of the Sentai team, known as Gelato 5, falls in love with the villainous Reaper Princess, and the two must keep their forbidden relationship a secret. It sounds silly, mainly because it is, but hear me out. This is such a soulful tokusatsu parody that pays so much respect to it that you forget it's all parody. The characters, the jokes, everything about this show has a lot of charm, and it's definitely worth your time. Being another installment in Tsuburaya's Gridman universe, SSSS.Dynazenon follows a group of teenagers and a mummy that come together to pilot the giant robot named Dynazenon to fight the kaiju eugenicists, who control giant monsters to wipe out humanity. Dynazenon has plenty of good character moments, some sweet action scenes, and all around, it's just an incredible time. It's very much in line with something like a modern Ultraman series with a little touch of Sentai. Come on, you know I can't make a list like this and not include Guyver. Guyver follows a high schooler named Sho Fukamachi who fuses with a bioweapon and gets tangled in a war against the Kronos Corporation and their monsters called Zoonoids in pursuit of world domination. When it comes to tokusatsu-inspired media, Guyver's the closest we'll get to a Kamen Rider anime that includes all the tropes and conventions akin to that of the 1971 series. Other than that, Guyver has such an awesome aesthetic with amazing creature designs and sick action scenes. While Guyver did receive an anime adaptation in 1989, I recommend the 2005 anime as it's closer to the manga and gets farther than its predecessor. If I wanted to, I would have this whole list just be mecha, but I don't want to outshine other entries that are worthy of a mention. That being said, there's no other mech I would highly encourage people check out than the legendary Mazinger Z. Shin Mazinger Z is a more modern retelling of the 1972 manga by Go Nagai with some changes and additions, and is essentially the definitive Mazinger anime, as it stays true to the original story's style and features wonderful characters and reeks of that classic aesthetic. Just get ready for a very soul-crushing cliffhanger. Okay, so I've been working on this video for a good bit, mainly because of all the traveling I've been doing in July, but it also gave me enough time to relish in what I believe is probably the best tokusatsu anime I've ever experienced up to this point. And that anime is Android Hikaider, the animation. Obviously, I can't make a list like this and not include something from the great Shotaro Ishinomori. Hikaider the animation follows an android named Jin-Roh as he fights the mechanical abomination sent by the evil organization Dark. And in this anime, plus the sequel OVA Hikaider 01, contains some of the most compelling and beautiful writing and storytelling in a show like this. From its atmosphere to the characters, Android Hikaider comes across as a mix of both Skullman and Kamen Rider, but results in a very heavy and down-to-earth story of what it means to have a soul and what defines us as human beings. With the 1995 Keita Amamiya film Mechanical Violator Hikaider being probably the most popular piece of Hikaider media in the West, I greatly encourage everyone to take a look at where it all came from. You will not regret it. Honorable mentions in this list include Giant Robo the Animation, Cyborg 009, and New Getarobo. Like with the previous honorable mentions, I definitely suggest checking these out as they're very well worth your time. Also, I haven't finished Cyborg 009 at the time I'm making this video. I'm sorry, I'll fix that. And that's my list. Do you have any toku or anime you want to recommend, people? Comment down below. And I want to give a very special shout out to my channel members and supporters on Patreon. So if you like what you see, then consider supporting the channel with the link in the description, where for at least a single $1 you can get access to my Discord server, and other than that, you can also get early access to videos, exclusive content, commissioned video requests, and receive a t-shirt of your choice from my TeePublic. Also want to give a shout out to Kaiser617 for joining the Patreon. Feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and this is TitanGoji, signing off.